Keep the faith.
Okay, so the pumpkin is in now. I should have told you that I did give the pumpkin a bath. And,
You remove the
excuse
inside?
me, I took the lid off, I cut the lid out, and I took all the seeds out. And those seeds are I got them at home. But those seeds, you can take all the little stringies off. You know, they have all the pumpkin strings on them. And you can rinse them off, and then you can season them lightly with some whatever you would like. Some people put cinnamon and sugar on them. I prefer not. I like them more savory. And then you can just roast them. And it's a wonderful, nutritious, very fibrous food that you can eat. Loaded with good things. Okay, now I need a recipe up here so I can go by. We're going to have a almond gravy. That recipe came from Weimar. And I'll do that one later. I'm going to start on all this chopping. Now, I've noticed that here in the past that I'm going to need a couple of bowls, just so that I can put my ingredients in.
Can I have one of those?
I need to have him.
This one? Yeah. No, not that one. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to start with an onion that I have down in here. I knew this guy at Weimar, and then he went to AUC. His name is Chef Tofurky. And this guy, he's an executive chef. He knows more about cooking than in his little finger than I know in my whole body. He's just really good. And he worked from the ground up, you know. He came from Samoa, hence his name Sualua Tupolo, and he was very good. He had a testimony of where he was always cooking for the congressmen and the governors, and in Samoa they even have a king. And so, and I don't know if you know, but in Samoa they have a huge obesity problem and huge diabetes problem. And so it's dropping their people like flies. They're just dying left and right because of this obesity. And so the governor that he was cooking for came down with something that he was dying from. And Sualua prayed for it. Sualua was an executive chef. He was an Adventist, brought up an Adventist, but he wasn't really practicing his faith. And so he started praying for this governor, and then the governor died. And he said, he got really angry at the Lord. He said, Lord, you said if your people by your name call out to you and ask that you'll answer. Why didn't you answer? And he said, the Lord spoke to me in the quiet of the night. And he said, I didn't kill him, Sualua. You did. You killed him with his fork. You know how to eat. You know how to cook properly. But yet you're giving them whatever they want. And what they want is not always the best thing. And you have the skills. I gave you the skills and the education to cook properly for them. You're the one killing them. I have nothing to do with it. And so then he all of a sudden changed the course of his life. And that's how I met him. He came to Weimar, and he became one of our first vegan culinary students at Weimar. And so he just fascinated me by how he cut cut onions. His knives were always razor sharp, and he would, I did several cooking classes with him at a time, and that's how I learned how to cut an onion like this. You know, you just cut it this way, and then when you cut it, it's already diced. And so when he was cutting, his knife it was like a secretary typing 90 words a minute. I was just always amazed. And people didn't know in his cooking classes how sharp his knife was, but he was like, he says, do onions bother you when you're cutting them? Do they make close your eyes, water. Just shut your eyes. And he was just going through that onion. It was just amazing. And he would always look at me and he'd say, Beaton, you've got to pick up your pace at chopping that onion. I mean, that's just way too slow. How are you going to get anything done? So this is a good way if you want a nice dice. You just cut them long ways, and then when you cut it this way, it's all diced. So we're going to put this in here. This is going to be a stuffing like you've never seen stuffing before. This was, I was cooking with this lady at our church. Her name is Beth Condi from the Meadow Vista Church. And for those of you who don't know where Meadow Vista is, it's in Northern California, right by Sacramento, right by Weimar. And you may not recognize her name, but she may recognize her face, for she's been on 3ABN's cooking classes many times. And we did a cooking class together, and she's just so fun to cook with. She is a dump cook. Anybody know what a dump cook is? That's with a P, not with a B. What's a dump cook?
Throw everything in.
You just throw everything and you don't measure it. And that's what we're going to do today. We're dumping. So this, you have a stuffing recipe there for this tofu turkey thing. And in fact, I think I probably ought to do that before I do the celery anymore. I'm going to...
Is that recipe this one here?
The tofu turkey, I'm going to go get
La receta que está haciendo es la que tienen en la hoja.
Es que no tiene,
No tiene stuffing,
celery.
no. Está buscando stuffing, pero no está ahí. No, no tiene.
Let's make the stuffing. Yeah.
Sí, ahí dice hacer el relleno. De make the stuffing.
The back.
Hacer el relleno. Eso es front.
Excuse me?
Let's go into this. Did you get them?
I wasn't sure.
Okay, doctor's got 1 point, everybody else has got 0.
We should have applied.
Yeah,
No, da un punto, lo demás 0.
so with the tofu turkey, what I did is I took some tofu and I
Con el
cut it
pavo,
up.
con el tofu, lo que hizo es que cortó. What?
Tofu.
Ah, you cut the tofu.
I put it in a food processor. Let me show you.
Ah, el tofu lo puso en el procesador de comida. Ahorita nos va a decir cómo.
I got this yesterday at Walmart.
Compró ese ayer en Walmart.
And I really wasn't that impressed with it.
Y no se impresionó mucho con eso. Told you not to buy it in Walmart.
So it has a couple of blades in it. That's why I thought that it would work.
Pensó que porque tenía unas cuchillas iba a funcionar mejor.
And so what I did is I put the tofu in here,
Puso el tofu adentro de ahí
and then I just briefly just shredded it up, crumbled it up.
y lo cortó, lo hizo pedazos ahí.
And then I lined this colander with cheesecloth.
Entonces, y luego con ese colador, este es un colador, lo forró con esta red para el queso.
And I took some liberties. You know, as a chef, you can take liberties.
Y se tomó algunas libertades como chef, se puede tomar algunas libertades.
And I put some chicken seasoning, and I put some sage in it.
Le puso sage y le puso el sabor de pollo.
I put a little bit of nutritional yeast in it,
Le puso levadura de cerveza nutricional
so that it's kind of flavored before I even start.
y le puso así como para que le dé un saborcito antes de que empiece.
¿Qué le puso?
Le puso la levadura de cerveza nutricional, el sabor de pollo vegetariano y el sage, una cosa que se llama sage. Es una hierbita que se escribe sage. Así
Ahí está.
es este, sí. ¿Sage? Pero no sé cómo se dice en español, por eso es sage.
So I'm pressing it down, and what I did
Y
is
lo plana para escurrirlo.
you have to do this the night before, and then you put a weight on it.
Lo hace una noche antes y luego le pone un peso encima para que se escurra.
And I put this bowl on it and just pressed it down.
Y le puso ese plato hondo y lo aplanó.
So I'm trying to get all the water out of it, and that should have happened overnight.
Todo el agua se tiene que salir y debió haberse salido durante la noche.
So now what I'm going to do is
El soya, el tofu.
I'm going to kind of draw a line.
Y luego va a hacer un círculo alrededor,
1 inch away from the sides.
1 pulgada afuera de los lados del recipiente.
Now I'm going to dig that out.
Y le va a sacarlo del medio de ahí. Y quiere venir a sumarse para que vean el proceso.
I don't want to go all the way to the bottom because I need 1 inch all the way around.
Necesitas dejar 1 pulgada alrededor. Y no lo raspa hasta el fondo, sino que nada más lo de arriba. Lo de arriba, no se va hasta el
Right.
fondo. Ya me Eso es tofu. El tofu es la proteína de la soya. Lo venden así en unos cuadritos en Walmart.
Y en H-E-B.
Y en H-E-B, en donde quieran, nomás que esté más barato en Walmart.
¿Y a cuál usan? ¿El mild o el hard? ¿A cuál usan?
¿Mande?
¿A cuál usan? ¿El mild o el hard?
What kind of tofu do you use?
Extra firm.
Usa el tofu, hay diferentes clases, hay usa el extra firme, hay firme, extra firme y aguadito, soft, usa extra firme. Gracias.